What's going on YouTube? Hey, it's Ben. You already know you're on the channel where we talk about recruiting, staffing, entrepreneurship, all that sorts of stuff. And if you like those topics, I vlog on them every single day. If you're not a subscriber yet, I highly recommend you smash that subscribe button right now and go ahead and smash the like button for good measure. Hit the alert button as well so you know every time that I come out with a video, and I think it'll add a lot of value to your business life and anything you're going after in entrepreneurship. So today I wanted to talk about Pareto's principle, the 80-20 rule, change what you can change, control what you can control. Basically this can be interpreted in two ways. The first way is basically 80% of the outcome and results that you perceive and that you have in life or business is basically made possible by the 20% input of effort that you put in the first place. So think about that for a second. 20% of your time, your energy, your focus, and your effort is all a result of that 80% of outcome. So basically that 20%, you need to be very, very, very focused on how you're utilizing it, because it's ultimately going to be responsible for a huge portion of the outcome of your business, of your life, of just anything that you're doing, right? Whether you're starting a recruiting agency or whether you're starting an e-com business or you're getting into real estate or you're just doing cold calling or whatever it might be, 20% of the input is responsible for 80% of that outcome. So the bottom line of that is that you need to be very focused on what you're doing with that 20% of time, right? So we don't always segment our days like this, right? But you should focus on this 20% of time, right, that you're inputting. So that's one way to focus on it. The other way to focus on it is that 20% of the things in life happen to you. 80% of the things in life are how you react to them. It's kind of the same principle, right? So 20% is just what happens to you. 80% is how you react to it. So as a business, as an entrepreneur, you're always going to go through hiccups. You're going to have to go through hurdles and you're going to have to break through walls and all that. But the deal is, that's all 20%. That's just a measly 20%, right? It's a small amount. 80% is how you react to it. So you have a ton of choice. You have a ton of option in that, venture, right? So 80% is how you react, interact, and how you, overcome all of those things. So those are two ways to look at Pareto's principle. And basically the way I put it down is control the things that you can control and change the things that you can change. So let's talk a little bit about like what are things that you can control, what are things that you can actually change. The first one that came to mind for me is focus. Where am I putting my focus, right? Where's your focus at, right? Is your focus on 3, 4, 5 different business ideas? Is your focus on developing an e-com store, an app, a recruiting business, real estate investing? I mean, where's your focus at, right? Are you watching 10 different YouTube channels every night, taking notes vigorously, trying to identify how you can break up an hour every day to work on every single business or something like that? Newsflash, it's a joke. It does not work. So here's the deal. Your focus, right, needs to be on that 20% of time. That's going to produce 80% of your outcomes. And within that 20%, you cannot put, e-com, recruiting, real estate. It just does not work like that. You have to be dialed in 100% laser focused so that 80% comes out really, really successfully for you. And for me, that's recruiting, right? So, that 20%, that's super honed in on recruiting, and 80%, all of those results are for recruiting. And so that's the way I view that principle in that perspective. What else am I putting my focus on? Where else is your focus? Is your focus on meaningless socialization? Do you have friends that just bring you down and don't talk about anything progressive or meaningful or beneficial to you or their lives? Do they just give you bad energy? Is it just a waste of your time? Most likely the answer is yes. And honestly, the truth of things is you are the average of the 3 to 4 people that surround yourself all the time, right? So the 3 to 4 people that you're consistently interacting with, whether it's digitally or in person or whatever it might be, those 3 to 4 people have such an impact on you, and you become the average of all of them. This is a scientific law. It's literally how it works. So if you're hanging out with a bunch of drug addicts, you're the average of all those drug addicts. If you're hanging out with people that just are consumers, and they're just simple, basic people that will remain poor for the rest of their life, and they don't have any ambition, you will become the average of that. If you hang out, though, with 3 to 4 people that are ambitious, that are after something, they're goal-oriented, they're focused, they're innovating, you will become the average of that. And then people will want to hang around you, and the whole circle goes, you know how that goes. So at the end of the day, this focus where you put this 20% is so incredible. Like, controlling the things you can control, focus is one of the main things, right? And ultimately, you should be focused on one meaningful business venture. So that's my pure advice. If you take one thing from this video, your focus should be on one meaningful business venture that is actually cash flow positive, working for you, it's showing success, and it has a long-term, success capacity, right? So you're working on something that's going to just pay out for you, it's going to make money, and it's proven, and it's already done that, and so your focus should be there. And that's pretty much all I have to say about what your focus would be. The other thing that you can control and change is your knowledge. I want to talk about learning, right? So as an entrepreneur, this is something so huge that all of you should already know. If you're a true entrepreneur, you constantly need to be learning. So it's just an every single day thing. Like when I started my recruiting agency, there was like 1,500 things I did not know about recruiting. But what I did is, as an entrepreneur, I learned. And I learned by doing things like watching YouTube videos, getting some mentorship, checking out Facebook groups, reading some books, watching some podcasts, like just anything I had to do to figure out how to do something, I did it, right? So you take action. And if you don't understand something, Google it, right? Like watch a YouTube video on it. Check out like a full library video on it. Like I don't care, whatever it is. If it's about outreach, like reach out strategy, templates, like I've even given a bunch of these to you guys that are in the Six Figure Recruiters Facebook group, link in description, by the way. And like if it's stuff like that, terminology or whatever it is, or even just analytics and stuff like that, like your metrics and how many calls you should be making. Ask people these questions. Like just ask questions and find out and learn. So those are things you can control, your knowledge base, right? Another thing you can control is your activity. And this is probably one of the biggest, right? So your focus and probably your activity. These things are huge. So your activity and your energy, really, I couple those as one. And that just means your daily output of emails, your daily output of phone calls, if you're doing cold calls, your daily output of research on new leads, lead generation, research on companies, things like that. Your follow-up activity, how much are you following up, how much are you actually dedicating time to do all that stuff, and looking for new business that might be out there, right? So those are things that you can control. Those are things that you can change. You have to figure out what those are for you, identify them, implement them, and then find success. And 80% is a huge number, right? So when we look at just doing 20% of the effort and energy and focus and honing in on your, focus, knowledge, and activity in that 20%, that's going to account for 80% of your outcome and results, right? So it's almost like, if you spent $20,000 to get $80,000, how would that feel? That's exactly what this is. I'd spend $20,000 to get $80,000 every single day if I could, right? And this is what that is. It's just in the form of hard work. So whether or not you're ready for the hard work, that's up to you. But that's all I have for Friday today, guys. If you're not subscribed, subscribe. Definitely smash the like button already as well. And I will catch you on Saturday. Take care, guys.